Please mute your microphone unless you are a candidate and answering. We'd appreciate that. So good evening, I'm Melissa Apuzzo. I'm the president of the PTSA. Welcome to the candidate forum. We are happy to bring this forum to you. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for introduction. Once that concludes, we will have a question and answer portion. They'll have 1 minute and 30 seconds to respond. Kristen Scotto is going to be our timekeeper. For the question and answer portion, we will call on the candidates in a random order for answer. We have 6 questions and we hope to get to all of them. If there's an issue with your connection or your internet, we will still need to move on regardless of the time. And at the end, the candidates will have 1 minute to wrap up. A few things that I wanted to speak about. So, school board members make up the largest body of elected officials in our United States. We entrust them to set the policies for most of our treasured institutions, our public elementary school, middle, and high schools. School boards establish a vision for the community school. They are entrusted to set up and maintain an effective, efficient organizational structure for the district and lets the superintendent and the administrators manage the school, allow the teachers to teach, and enable the students to learn. A school board has a heavy influence on the spirit and characterization of the community's impression of its school system. Good luck to everybody. Okay, we will let the candidates have their 2 minute introduction, and we'll go in alphabetical order. So we'll start with Michael Buckley.
Good evening, how are you? I would like to start off thanking the students, the parents, the administration, the faculty for stepping up during this challenging time we just faced. You all deserve an applause. First, my name is Matthew Buckley. I'm a lifelong member of Greenwood Lake. My wife, Beth, and I raised 2 children, Matthew and Geraldine. I'm a retired iron worker from Local 580. I am just retired president of the Greenwood Lake Little League. I am also vice president of the GWLUFSD Society, which I've served as president as well for a few years now. I am also on the GWLUFSD Society, the liaison to the Mid-Hudson St. Patrick's Day Committee, and I'm also the breakfast chairman for the Grand Marshal Breakfast. So I deal a lot in different boards, different personalities, different aspects of people. And I think being on a board will be good to my experiences. And hopefully we could get through this together by working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Next, we'll hear from Michelle Kaiser.
Hello, everyone. I just want to thank the PTSA for organizing this. Thank you for everyone who is here. My name is Michelle Kaiser. I currently serve on the board. I have served on the board for 2 years. I have been a preschool teacher for 9 years. I have 3 children. 3 of which I currently homeschool. So for me, I feel that my homeschool experience brings a lot to the board, especially during this unprecedented time where we don't know what direction we're headed in. Just want to thank everyone again, and want to thank all the parents for their support as well.
Thank you, Michelle. Next, we'll hear from Aaron Novak.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Novak. I'm a lifelong resident of Greenwood Lake as well. I have 2 kids in the district in 3rd grade and 6th. I have been involved in the Greenwood Lake Soccer Club for the past 8 years coaching. Started when most of the kids that'll be entering 8th grade next year. I also am involved in the Greenwood Lake Little League. I've been coaching there for 8 years as well. I'm currently on the board of the Greenwood Lake Little League as the treasurer. I know we have a lot of challenges ahead of us in terms of the safety of the kids and getting back to school. And I want to use all the information that's out there and the best data we can find to make sure that we make the right decisions for the safety of all the kids, and also what's best for the community as a whole and the teachers and everybody involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Ron Summer. I'm sorry, Ron, we can't hear you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, including the PTSA, for putting this together. Yeah, we are in some trying times, but it is nice to see technology being used in, a different kind of way and helping out, the district. For those that don't know me, I'm Ron Summer. Been in Greenwood Lake since 2002 when we built our home. Both of my kids have gone through K-8 in the district. My daughter is currently a sophomore in Warwick High, and my son's a sophomore at Niagara University. I was on the board prior for about 9 years. And for that, I'll say, looking at the names, I think a lot of people on here kind of know me already, so I'll defer the rest of my time for later.
Thank you, Ron. Next, we'll hear from Kevin Toohey.
Hi, good evening. Yeah, thanks to PTSA for putting this together. It's really appreciated. And best of luck to all the candidates. I think that, 6 people running, I don't think our district's not going to lose no matter who wins in this race. There's some good people here for sure. I've been on the board for 3 years. This will be my second term if reelected. Originally ran, with the kids in school. My son's in 7th grade. My daughter's now a freshman at the high school. Well, sophomore, I guess school's almost over. And, I kind of wanted to give them the impression of what good civic duty is. And that's where this road started for me. As we move forward now, there's a lot of challenges ahead of us, as everybody said, keeping kids safe in all these environments that we're going to be walking into, the staff, the teachers, and even, bigger challenges too. We have our governor talking about some reimagination of education that I don't agree with. I mean, it's not, you can't get rid of a school building. Kids need to see a teacher. They absolutely need to see a teacher. And to try to go down that route is very dangerous in the long run. There's a lot of funding issues that are going on. School districts are looking at some significant deficits moving down the road as far as state aid. If we don't get some federal pumps on that money, there's going to be a lot of lobbying in Albany that needs to happen. I've done that on the school board. I did that with the Orange County BOCES board. I've been up to Albany. I've lobbied for things. Being where we're at, the big 7s get all the money. We're kind of begging for the scraps from there on out. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. So we have to be diligent in getting that done constantly and staying on top of that and really monitor what Albany's, going to try to implement and try to protect our local district and our kids. So that's where we'll start.
Thanks, Kevin. Next, we'll go to Tracy Velez.
Hi, everyone. Thank you to the PTSA for putting this Zoom meeting together, the Zoom forum. I've been living here for 13 years. I have 4 children, 3 of which are currently at Greenwood Lake Middle School, and 1 is in high school at Warwick. He's a sophomore this year. And I volunteer I'm a Girl Scout leader for 2 of my daughter's troops. I am on the board, the committee of the Greenwood Lake Boy Scouts, Troop 121. I'm a treasurer there. And I also volunteer. I also am on the Little League board, secretary. So I hope that my volunteering experience, and I also, when I lived in Queens, I worked for the Board of Education in Queens. I was a paraprofessional for 14 years. So I hope that experience and my experience with my volunteering will help if I'm elected position on the board, Greenwood Lake board. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, so we will move on now to our question and answer portion of this forum. Like I said, we have about 6 questions. We hope to get through all of them. We don't really have a time cap, but we would like to keep it short and sweet, to the point. Each candidate will have 1:30 to respond. Kristen will be keeping the time, and she'll give a warning at 10 seconds, 5 seconds, and the end. We appreciate if you wrap it up so the next candidate can answer. And like I said, we have a random selection as to who will answer the order answer. Okay. So we will start. Kevin Toohey will be first to answer this first question. The question is, what are your thoughts on remote learning for our students versus attending school?
I think I kind of said that during my introduction. I'm not, long term, it's absolutely not an answer. Long term, it's not the way to go. Right now, we were all kind of shoved into this pandemic pretty quickly. And I think, everybody did the best they could during that time that was going on, from the students to the teachers to the parents to the administrators. Long term, I don't feel it is a good thing. I think social emotional for the children is really key, especially for our younger children. So there might be some benefits for some projects and things like that, and certain, maybe PLTW might have some projects they can do remotely, but overall, not a huge fan. I don't think it's the long-term solution, and I think that we got to do the best we can not to let it happen.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, we'll hear from Aaron Novak.
Yeah, I feel, safety is number one. If the state decides that schools can reopen, whatever the precautions are taken necessary, and we'll meet every precaution needed. But the social and emotional aspect of the kids being at school and having face-to-face time with teachers is super important. So I would like everyone to be able to get back to that. And yeah, it's a safety thing first and foremost. The school district did a great job of getting remote learning up and running as quickly as they did, so that the kids can finish out the school year on a good note. But yep, to me, it's safety first. Thanks.
Thank you, Aaron. Next, we'll hear from Ron.
And this time I remembered to unmute myself first.
Thank you.
Remote learning, there definitely has to be an in-person component of schooling. And I think you have to look at it from various age groups. The younger the kid, the more that socialized learning has to take place. When you get into the high school, to have remote learning for some subjects, we did within Orange County have Mandarin Chinese that was done through remote learning. And even in our middle school, in some of those grades where you can get a class that wouldn't be offered because we can't afford to have a teacher for that particular class, it does present some options. But I'll agree with everyone talking so far that school is you being in the building with your peers, with the teacher. There's a whole social component that you need to learn and experience.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. Next, we'll go to Tracy. Oh, you good? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, sorry. I am not a fan of the online learning as well. I just, we were all just thrown into it. The kids, teachers, at the last minute. So we had to adjust. They had to adjust. Teachers had a big job to put everything together and to help these kids along still learning while, at home. and I'm not a fan of it as for long term. You know, I don't know. Everything is up in the air. It's just, you know, who knows what's going to be? Who knows? My hopes is that we get back to school in September and things go back to the new normal, so to speak. I would love for it to be the old way and just go right back into the way it was, but you know, with safety issues and have to, you know, be at the forefront. We have to protect the children, the staff, whoever, you know, works there. So the online learning, to me, it was good for the short term, but definitely not. I don't really see it such a good thing for long term. They need that connection. They need that interaction with their peers, with the teachers. I know my kids do. They miss it terribly. So
10 seconds, Tracy.
thank you, Kristen. You know, they miss school terribly. So
5 seconds.
really, it will be, you know, back to normal, the new normal as we speak. So thank you.
Time up.
Thank you, Tracy. Next, we'll hear from Matt Buckley.
I think nothing's better than face-to-face learning. Children need the emotional and social support of the classroom. I see it in my kids, like they just need to be in a classroom. I understand the remote learning and the job that had to be done that we just faced, but in the future, face-to-face learning. Thank you.
Thank you. And Michelle.
I'm just going to pretty much reiterate what everyone's saying. I'm not in agreement with remote learning. I think it's critical for the development of children to have that social and emotional, you know, learning, to have, you know, that, to be in a classroom, to be with their peers. And there's also so many components. If this continues on, what do we do with teachers? We need our teachers. We need them in our schools. So, you know, if this continues in a long run, I don't see this being healthy for our children, for our economy, for our schools, for our community. So I am completely against remote learning.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we'll go on to question number 2, and Michelle will be answering first. What changes would you like to see with our district in the future?
Right now, things are so unprecedented, so it kind of a lot depends on, you know, the directives of our governor and what he is going to give us as far as budgeting. But, you know, before this, I was very hopeful in having a lot more programs for our children, a lot more variety for them, education-wise. As a board member, I would love to see just more transparency in the district, more communication with the community and the parents as to what's going on in the district, ways for us to reach out to the community so that they have the information, they know what's going on in the district, where we as board members take that initiative.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we'll go to Tracy.
The changes I would like to see. I would like to see, well, it's definitely an unprecedented time. So, you know, with the budget and everything is up in the air with that. I really liked the way our school was running. I really liked the programs that were being offered, the sports especially. My kids are sports orientated, and they're missing that for sure. And that's it, just the way, just the way it was. I just, you know, I think the programs were fine. I think everything was fine. Just a little bit more communication as far as the parents with the teachers and the board would be nice. But I really liked the way it was.
Thanks, Tracy. Next, we'll go to Kevin Toohey.
Sorry, threw me off. I thought you were going backwards from the other one. I was ready. Yeah, the future's going to be, it's going to be challenging, number one, but there's a lot of good things that can come out of this. There's a lot of, this pandemic has created a lot of things that the district, not just our district, a lot of districts have found where our shortfalls are, and we can move forward from there, looking through to the future and what we can have. One of the things I talk about, if anybody's been to the budget workshops, and we go around and we talk about our wish list, I always say more cool stuff. It's kind of like the joke, more cool stuff, because we need to keep the education of our children in line with the times. So we have to provide them the technology that they're going to need to move forward in their lives. Our kids are getting taught for jobs that don't even exist yet in a lot of cases, especially in younger ones. So we need to continue to try to strive for ways to get them. We tried to put an Odyssey of the Mind this year with the budget restraints. It kind of threw us back a little bit. Hopefully we can get back to that next year and really get these kids thinking and evolving in a way that's going to keep them moving forward. Because we have to keep the district moving forward at the same rate that our children need to move forward. And that's where we go
10
through.
seconds.
And some of the struggles that that we've learned over the years have
5 seconds.
started to lead us that way. So thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Aaron.
Yeah, I want kids to have every opportunity that, I went to Green Lake Elementary and Green Lake Middle School, and I just want to make sure that the kids have the same opportunities that I had to get to play sports and to do all these things. And I know it's such an uncertain time now. We don't know when we're going to be able to do what, but I just want to help ensure that everybody gets the opportunities that they need, whether it's extra help or kids that can be pushed a little harder, to prepare them for high school and beyond that, because it's important, especially, going on to high school where things are a little different now since it's a bigger districts than when I went to Tuxedo. Yeah, just want to make sure kids have the best opportunities they can. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Ron.
It's really, I'm going to say, a two-part question. One is looking towards next year, and with the budget woes in Albany, there were in the budget proposal 3 chances for the governor to reduce the amount to education. The first one passed. He didn't do anything. The second and third have yet to come, and who knows what's going to happen. And given what's happening with that, to keep as much as we possibly can locally and doing as much as we can by thinking outside the box, when it comes to the financial part. I'll agree with Kevin. I've always said that the kindergartners coming in, their job hasn't been invented yet. People haven't even thought about it yet. Collaborative thinking, critical thinking, using technology, all that we really need. The expression "think outside the box" is really, we need to think outside the box. I mean, I work for a very large corporation. I'm on the project now that's like 6 different divisions and have 50 people. That is a skill that has to be taught. And we need to do everything we can from little on in starting that different way of thinking. I mean, the business and the world is not like when anyone on the screen.
10 seconds, Ron.
So that's kind of where I see the
5 seconds.
Thank you, Ron. Next, we'll hear from Matt.
Well, until the state issues its guidelines for opening schools, hopefully in the beginning of June, and we can come up with a plan that everybody is involved with, to the bus drivers, to custodians, to teachers, faculty, the administration. Like, until then, any plans for the future is up in the air. I would love to see all the after-school projects and stuff, sports, everything to stay intact. But until we know what the future holds for us, I can't comment until the state gives us the guidelines for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question number 3 Tracy will answer first, and it is, how do you feel about balancing educational requirements and subsequent need for supplies versus being fiscally responsible, sorry.
Well, I think they go hand in hand. You know, we have to have the money in order to have the supplies to teach, to give our kids the best opportunity that they can get. And right now, with these unprecedented times, we don't even know fiscally how that's going to affect us. The budget, you know, it's all up in the air. It's all, you know. I mean, we could. I'm assuming there's going to be some kind of a budget cut. You know, I mean, how much? I don't know. So until we really find out that, there's really no way of saying, you know, how much we could give the kids. So, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Trace. Next, we'll go to Matt.
Well, I'm a taxpayer in Greenwood Lake for a long time now. So being fiscally responsible is a big deal to me. But like Tracy just said, the future, if we have budget cuts and stuff like that, I'd love to keep every program we have. But until we see these guidelines, you know, our future is being held by the state government as of right now. So hopefully that all works out and we could save people's taxes some money here and there. But more importantly, you know, the kids need all the opportunities we can give them. Thank you.
Thanks. Michelle?
Yeah, unfortunately, we do have to wait to see what Cuomo does. And we do have to be fiscally responsible. But that being said, I feel that as a district, we should provide supplies for our children. There should not be one family that maybe is just struggling, you know, to buy your basic school supplies. We should be able to somehow come up with a plan to provide that for our students.
Thank you, Michelle. Next, we'll go to Kevin.
Yes, you know, that's priority number one for a school board. You know, our fiscal responsibility to the community is right up there with our quality of education for our children. You know, we have to balance both of those things. The programs are tough. Our district itself, proud to say, and if anybody's done the research, we are in a very, very good fiscal position right now. Very good. Probably one of the best in Orange County. You know, to avoid cuts for us is going to, we will do the best we can to avoid cuts. We're going to try to add what we can when we can that helps the children. You see in the budget this year, we put in there to pay for band instruments for those families that can't afford the rental fees, because we felt that was very, very strong, especially this year. We have a lot of parents that probably won't go back to work even when this is over. They may have lost their jobs permanently. So key that we can put in what we can when we can. You know, we're not going to be in a position like Warwick, who's cutting their budget by 15% this year. And if you look on their budget, they're cutting freshman sports out of Warwick. You know, that's not on the agenda for next year. No freshman sports. So that's a direct impact on the kids. And we can have as much as we can to avoid that with us while protecting our taxpayers. You know, we've done a great job over the years saving for a rainy day that a lot of districts didn't do. And that's our saving grace. And as we move forward, we'll keep doing that as best we can.
5 seconds.
Okay, so
Thank
that's
you.
it. I'm good.
Thank you.
Ron? We'll go to Ron. Ron, we can't hear you. There you go.
Better?
Yes.
All right. So part of being a school board member is that balancing act between doing everything we can for our kids and our future and our community versus the taxpayer. And it's a balancing act that I've gone through for 9 years. And since I've been off the board. I know the existing board has done that. It's not easy. I see the next year or two being probably some of the most difficult years. We all thought when the property tax cap came into existence that that would be the big problem. And while that was a problem on Long Island, it really was not as much of a problem here. I see this whole budget problem with Albany as being one that whoever gets elected onto the board is going to have a very hard choice sitting there and balancing between the two, you know, what's best for the kids and what we can do versus how much we can ask the taxpayers to support.
Thank you, Ron. And we'll hear from Aaron.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, kids first, obviously. It's why we all want to do this. Whatever cards were dealt budget-wise, we have to think about the kids' needs first and what's best for them. You know, I have a lot of decent amount of experience in this class 5, and you always have to look at all sides of things and come up with what's the best solution for everybody. So as long as the kids come first, I have full confidence that we'll figure it out. Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron. Question number 4 will first go to Ron. And that question is, how would you handle a request if approached by a member of the community, a special interest group, or a teacher?
Gee, that never happens. that type of question never happens. There are certain, we're all running for a board, for the Board of Education, but we only guide the district into what they're going to do. The district is actually run by professionals. And if any one of the 7 board members does get a question from the community, the typical answer is to follow the normal chain. Did you talk to the teacher? Did you talk to the principal? Did you talk to the superintendent? They are the actual people that run the district. The board only gives the guidelines and the guidance into where they want to see the district go.
Thank you, Ron. Next, we'll go to Matt.
Like Ron said, you know, the school board is here for the guidance. That question was proposed to me. I would say follow the chain of command and refer them back to the superintendent. That's my answer.
Thank you. We'll go to Tracy.
Yes, I too would tell them to follow the chain of command. If it was a teacher, I would expect them to consult with the principal. If it was a community member regarding something, they would also have to, if it was a school-related issue, they would go to the principal. From what I'm told and know about the board, that we just implement the policies. We don't handle, stuff like that. They have to follow the chain of command. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Next, we'll go to Aaron.
Yeah, I too would, say follow chain of command or come to a school board meeting and speak up. I think everybody always wants to hear people's ideas and thoughts on things, and just get new ideas out there so people can think about them more. Thanks.
Michelle?
Yeah, just pretty much like everyone said, to follow the protocol and follow the chain of command. But with that being said, we are an extension of the community's voice. So it is our job to kind of follow up on it as well. So for that one person that comes to you, there's probably about 10 or 15 other people who feel the same way that that person does. So it is kind of important to also be the community's voice in a situation. So, following up with, protocol, yes, but also, as a board member, being the community's voice, and following up to make sure that that situation was, handled.
Thank you. And Kevin?
Yeah, just to what everybody said, and just I just want to be fair. That question is a little easier for Michelle and I to answer than the others who haven't been on the board. We are an extension of the community. We're elected by the community. We represent the community. We cannot act individually. That was probably one of the most difficult things I realized on the board. That 7 people, majority wins. So we cannot act as individuals, cannot respond as individuals, but we can listen as individuals, and we can bring that information forward. And oftentimes when I get approached, we all get, people on this call probably call me about things. I bring those forward to the whole board and to the superintendent for discussion and action. But yes, following the chain of command is absolutely essential in any organization to make it work correctly. But listening is part of what we get elected to do. We are representing the people on this call, the people that are putting their ballots in the mail the next couple of days, and we have to keep our ears open to them all the time. And again, the toughest part is we don't have an individual decision. I can't make a decision for this district if I wanted to by myself. It's got to be done by the entire board and the superintendent. And we entrust the superintendent to make those decisions. That's where all the information flows to and from. So, but we are obligated, at least I feel we're obligated to present it
10 seconds.
when approached by the community members. Thanks.
5 seconds.
Thank you. Okay, so Aaron will go first next, and the question is, what motivated you to run? Was there a problem, or did you see something that needed improvement? And what value do you think you'll bring to the board?
I want to run because I've lived here my whole life. I want my kids to sort of grow up the same way I did. Like I said earlier, I'm involved with soccer and baseball already. And my professional life has given me a little more time here to finance, and I just felt it was a good fit to help move the community and district forward. Thanks.
Thank you. Just so you know, Aaron, you have a little feedback when you give your answer, so I don't know if there's some adjustment that you can make. Next, we'll hear from Michelle. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Can you just repeat the question one more time?
Sure. The question was, what motivated you to run? Was there a problem, or did you see something that needed to be improved? And what value do you think you'll bring to the board?
Well, I've served on the board already, so I would like to see the momentum that we have keep going. I lived in Greenwood Lake for 17 years now. My children have have been in the district. And I feel that, with homeschooling as well, I have a lot more opportunity to, have access to a lot of programs that public schools don't have, such as Odyssey of the Mind, or maybe a coding program such as Scratch. Like I introduced the Fast Forward for the kids who were struggling. So with those things, I feel that, I can be an asset to the district and to our children, just to kind of propel them, academically, and put them ahead of the game.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Next, we'll hear from Kevin. Sorry.
That's okay. Can I make a quick request? And I
Sure.
this is a very important question. If I can give up a couple seconds, can Aaron go again? Because he got cut off completely. I don't think anybody heard his answer at all.
Oh, very well.
And it's a very, very important question. But while I'm running, initially I ran, like I said, what drove me here initially was the civic duty of teaching my children a good lesson. There were some things going on back then, if people remember, with some universal pre-K and things like that I was against, that kind of helped propel that a little bit. Why I want to continue is, what Michelle said, moving forward, we got some good progress going. We threw a big hurdle this way. I think the experience that I have on the board now will help us move forward through this pandemic. Like Aaron's said several times, and Mike, Matt has said it as well, the safety of the kids is first. So there's some tough things we don't know yet. We have to wait for the guidance on what we can do and can't do. But keeping people moving forward in the right direction and really protecting our kids from what potentially could be coming down from Albany. We're going to have to fight. We're going to have to fight. And it's going to be a tough fight, I think. But I think we'll get through it if we all stick together on it. Okay? Thank you.
Very well. Aaron, would you like to give your
Sure.
answer?
How do I sound? Is that right?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I was just saying I grew up here, so I just want to make sure my kids have the same great experiences I did going to school here. My mom was a teacher, so I know how important education is. With my background in finance and project management, it's just a good fit to like Kevin said, do more civic duty on top of the coaching I do with soccer and baseball. And I just want to make sure that the district is as successful as it can be, and all the kids can be successful.
Very well. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Ron. And Ron, just start to speak because it was a little low before.
Is that any better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so why am I running? I think we've said, other people have said it. It's your civic duty. If you're in the community and you want to give back to the community, it's the best thing that you can do. I've always said that being on the school board is apolitical. We're here for the kids. It doesn't matter what party. We sit here. You've been to board meetings. We have our discussions. But as Kevin said before, the majority rules, and if it's a 4-3 vote, you go with what the 4 people said. I bring a lot of experience, a lot of history to the board, being on it for 9 years and being involved in Orange County and in the state and on a national level also. And it's you want to leave the place better than when you got there. And I'll just leave it at that.
Thanks, Ron. Next, we'll go to Matt.
I've actually been wanting to run for the school board for a long time. My wife doesn't want me to do that, but I've been wanting to do that for a long time. I think my experience of being on different boards and with, just in different communities, like between going to district meetings for baseball or going to meetings with the Gaelic Society, bringing people together is something that we're going to need right now. We're going to need to bring together the faculty, the administration, the bus drivers, the custodians. Everybody's going to have a say in what's going forward. So to me, my best attribute is I'm a good listener. I can get people to work together. And like Ron and Kevin said, one person doesn't make the decisions on this board. It's going to take everybody to make a decision, and everybody's got to make it together. Thank you.
Very well. Tracy?
Well, what motivated me to run for the seat is I want to be more involved in my children's education. And I feel like that I would be a good asset since I am on other boards and I am very involved in the community. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our last question will first go to Matt. And it is, should our district publicly speak out and/or take action against mandates issued by the state if the majority does not agree with such mandates?
Like I said, it's going to take all of us together to come up with these decisions. So if as a majority, we don't like the mandates coming down and everybody agrees with it, I'm all for it. But we're all going to be in this together. It's not going to be one person making decisions. So I agree. If we're all in it, if that's our decision, we're sticking by it.
Very well. Thank you. Ron?
Yes, unfunded mandates have been a thing for as long as I can remember, and probably as long as John Finn was on the board. A real life example is happening right now with this mail-in election. Before, yes, there was an expense to have the building, to have the tellers, and to rent the machine and print the ballots. But now, not only do you have all of that, you also have all the mailing expenses. And nobody from the state is saying, oh, don't worry, we're going to pay for it. So unfunded mandates, I have been talking about that for like the last 15 years. I mean, it is something that we constantly have to talk about. And unfortunately, I think Albany will not stop. They will continue to promise stuff that they don't have to pay for, that the local districts have to pay for. And we will have to continue to voice our concerns to the legislation and to the governor to stop it.
Thanks, Ron. Next, we'll go to Aaron.
Yeah, I think if we feel like our community needs are not being met, then we need to speak up for ourselves. It's important, like Matt said earlier, to come together as a group and decide what is best for us. And if that's not being met, then yes, we absolutely should be speaking up for ourselves. Thanks.
Very well, thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have to speak up, and that's part of our responsibility. Unfunded mandates, and Ron hit it. We're living one now. I mean, that alone probably cost us, well over $10,000 extra that we didn't have in the budget because the state said you have to do it. Like I mentioned earlier, lobbying in Albany, we have lobby committees throughout the state, the county, the state, and we're always fighting. The problem comes in when they hold the other funding over your head. So the directive comes down as a mandate, and it says, oh, by the way, if you don't, here's the penalty. So it's a very, very difficult balance to fight with Albany and do the best thing we can. But we'll fight. I mean, the kids come first and the community comes first. We have to fight. That's why we're here. Our board is we're the extension of the community to the district and to the state. We have to fight the battle. We're not going to win every time, unfortunately. We're just not. But we're going to try. We're going to try like heck when we can.
Thank you. Tracy?
Yes, like everybody said before, I agree. Absolutely, we have to speak up if we don't agree with what's coming down from Albany. The kids come first, and if it's not right for them and it's not a good fit for our district, then definitely we have to speak up. Thank you.
Thank you. And Michelle?
Yeah, I completely agree with the majority of the community, is not for something we do. That's our responsibility. That's our duty to fight. We have to lobby in Albany. I think it's important as a board member to develop those relationships with our legislators. Even going above and beyond, especially during this time where you just don't lobby, when it comes to something related to the board, but you're going to their meet and greets, they're going to the little chats. They get to know your face, they get to know who you are, so that when we do need them to lobby for us, they know that we're a voting bloc. They know that we have a voice, so that we can push, our agenda forward. So I think that's, very important, which is something I have been doing since I got on the board, is developing those relationships with our legislators. So, thankfully I've done that. So, if I am on the board, I'm going to pursue that, especially during these unprecedented times.
Thank you. We've come to the end of our questions. So we'll go in reverse alphabetical order. If you'd like to make a statement, we'll keep it at 1 minute to wrap everything up. So Tracy, if you'd like to start.
Yes, I just wanted to thank you, Melissa, and the PTSA for hosting this Zoom. Thank you to the current board members, the other candidates, and good luck to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, thank Kristen. Where's Kristen? Best timekeeper ever. By the way, great job. I just want to thank everybody, for the opportunity to serve the first term and hopefully another term You know, it's really, you know, I don't take it for granted. I take it very seriously. I appreciate that the community had faith in me the first time, and I'm hoping they have faith in me the second time. So good luck to everybody else. And like I said in the beginning of the call, 6th grade candidates, there's no losing here no matter what. So we're in good shape.
Thanks, Kevin. We'll go to Ron.
Can't hear you.
Wait, Ron, you're muted.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, including the PTSA and my fellow candidates, and to the public. If I am lucky enough to get your vote and support, promise that I'll do the best I can to the best of my ability in pushing the Greenwood Lake Union Free School District in a positive direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron?
Yes, thank you, as well as to the PTSA for putting this on. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. Yeah, if I get elected, I will do my best. I'm a quick learner to pick up the ins and outs of everything as fast as possible. I encourage everyone to go vote. It's important. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks. Michelle?
Yes, I just want to thank Melissa and Kristen for organizing this. Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. And thank you to fellow candidates. Like Kevin said, I don't think we can go wrong, whoever is voted on, elected. Just to the community, I would like to continue, the memento that we built on the board. My goal is to be an extension of your voice. Ultimately, I work for you. I represent you. So, like I said, I'm an extension of your voice. So just again, thank you very much. I promise, during these times that I will fight for what, the community wants. And if that means, me taking a
5
trip to
seconds.
Albany, I'm there. I've done it already. So thank you again.
Thank you. And Matt?
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you to PTSA for doing this tonight. These Zoom meetings are very eventful. I'm very humbled by the community support and like even trying to run and stuff like that. And to all the candidates, like good luck. Like you guys are trying, we're all trying, and like Kevin and everybody said, we're not going to go wrong with anybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm glad we were able to put this together. And remember that your ballot needs to be into the district office or into the mailbox by the 9th at 5 p.m. If you have any other questions, you can email the school district clerk, Mary, for any voting questions.
Can I just make one correction to what you said?
Oh, yes, sure, go ahead.
That it has to be in the district's hands by 5 p.m. Postmarking will not count.
Oh, correct, yes.
So if you forget and have to mail it on the 9th, there is a box at the elementary school on the Waterstown side that you can drop it in by 5 p.m.
Right, and it's at the old elementary school entrance. So which is, if you face the front of the building, like directly across from the library in that section of the elementary school building. All right, and again, best of luck to everybody. Stay safe and be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Hi, everyone.